Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
He's called Eric.
He's Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and coming up we have some big news on the biggest acquisition in SmackDown history.
The dumbest name change in WWE history.
And the latest on Dean Ambrose. This is the news.
First of all, the Superstar Shakeup. That is a thing that happened. It kicked off on last night's Raw, and we got all manner of really kind of weird changes and a couple of exciting ones as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run through them in no specific order, although I will save the best one till last.
Please.
Cedric Alexander, he's moving from 205 Live. There was a little video package on him. Eric Young.
You may have missed that one. They sort of went, here are all the big names, and Eric Young.
Eric Young. So I guess Sanity are dead.
2 years in a row, Sanity used on the Superstar Shakeup and not appeared. So.
Yeah, this is
or
good
remember
stuff.
at least.
Lacey Evans, she's finally planted her flag. She beat Natalya last night. EC3, who came out demanding increased competition and then got killed by Braun Strowman. Naomi. The Usos, Lars Sullivan, who apparently hates the ruthless aggression era. He battered Kurt Angle the other week. He battered the Hardy Boys, Attitude Era, and he battered Rey Mysterio last night. Speaking of Rey Mysterio, he is now on Raw as well. Interrupted Elias. Zelina Vega and Andrade.
Really like that one.
The tag team formerly known as War Raiders. We'll get to that in a minute. Aleister Black, Ricochet, The Miz, whose feud with Shane McMahon seems to be continuing. And the biggest name of all, who came out in the main event, AJ Styles. He has left the house that AJ Styles built to go to Monday Night Raw. So, quite a lot to unpack here. I think that SmackDown have lost quite a fair bit of star power. What do you think about these moves with regards to Raw, and how do you think they'll fit in?
I like quite a lot of them, to be perfectly honest. I don't know what really I expected. I think we did a podcast yesterday discussing who was going to switch brands, and a lot of our picks were from Raw to SmackDown, because I think a lot of people needed a bit of a freshen up, and I'm sure we're going to see that tonight on SmackDown Live. But AJ Styles was one of the ones that we pinpointed as someone who really needed to move on from SmackDown. He kind of done everything he could on the blue brand, so I think he's great. I love Andrade being on Raw, so long as they book him right. I suppose that's the sort of caveat with everyone here. The Miz, great. Naomi and the Usos, fantastic news there. The NXT one, which we're going to get to in a second, is the big one. But I think all in all, fine. It was never going to, break the bank in terms of massive name changes, but
yeah,
it was exciting.
I guess AJ is probably about the biggest name we could have expected coming from SmackDown, short of moving like Daniel Bryan or someone like that. I think it makes sense. It'll be interesting. Like, AJ really has done everything on SmackDown. He was champion for like a year. He has been in the main event scene pretty much for the duration of his time there. I know him and Randy Orton went on like second or whatever at WrestleMania, but it was still a big name program. Those are big names. The Miz is a good one because he's pretty much bulletproof. They can present him in any way they want and he'll still be over. He's somehow currently over as a shooter babyface, despite being, like, I love The Miz, this isn't an insult, despite being one of the fakest wrestlers in the game. Like, that's pretty incredible.
He looked badass with all that blood over his face.
He did, he looked like $1 million, and this guy's ability to just stay over is something else. The Usos are, in my opinion, one of the best WWE tag teams of all time. They will be just fine. Eric Young, bit weird. Lacey Evans, fair enough. Cedric Alexander, great wrestler. Wonder about the character work. Either way, Raw is looking pretty interesting.
Did you like me nibble when they said there's going to be a star from 205 Live coming, and I thought it was going to be your pick, Buddy Murphy?
Big Buddy.
Maybe we'll get that on SmackDown. Hopefully we'll get that on SmackDown. Yeah, fingers crossed. Right, let's follow that up with the, arguably, I'd say the most talked about thing coming out of Monday Night Raw. Is that fair to say? AJ Styles was a big news story. This is the one that...
On the night when AJ Styles, like everyone's favourite wrestler, switched brands, this is the big talking point.
What is going on in the WhatCulture office? Literally everyone walks in through the door, looks around and says, the Viking Experience, because that is the new name for Rowe and Hanson, which are now called Eric and Ivar. Eric and Ivar, who were formerly called Rowe and Hanson, and also were called the War Raiders on NXT, who are the current NXT Tag Team Champions, are now on Monday Night Raw as the Viking Experience. Stop me if I'm going a little bit too fast here. Look, I'm really happy for them to be on the main roster. It's a bit confusing with them being NXT Tag Team Champions. It's even more confusing that they have a complete name change, not just in terms of the name of the tag team, but their names, which Rowan Hansen, there's no issue there anyway.
Yeah.
But the bloody Viking Experience.
Viking Experience. It sounds like a crap exhibit at a National Trust museum.
Well, they're huge fans of Vikings.
They are. They love that stuff. But like, I thought it was particularly hilarious that what was it? The commentators put them over as, "This isn't a gimmick. They live this."
They said that this isn't a gimmick, ladies and gentlemen. They eat raw meat and they make their own clothes.
This is what people are talking about when they talk about the lack of subtlety on the main roster. You know, War Raiders in NXT, the thing was that they used like Viking iconography to intimidate people, much like, you know, the New Zealand All Blacks, the rugby team, like do the haka and stuff before. It's an intimidation thing. They're not actual Vikings, but now they're on the main roster. They apparently are actual Vikings. This is going to turn into an Asterix comic very soon. The only way they could have possibly made this even dumber is if they called them, like, I don't know, Smashy McAxe and Ronnie Ragnarok. It's, you know, it's really stupid, but at the same time, I kind of love it.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? We probably love it for the wrong reasons. Look, Michael Hamblin made a really good point when we were talking about this in the office, saying you can't have a tag team on your main roster, on the flagship show, arguably, that come out and chant war, okay? But, like, just take war out of their name then.
Invaders.
Don't call them the new ride at Thorpe Park, the Viking Experience.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I take the point about war and all that stuff. It's a real shame that they're going to take that war chant off them because it's over. We saw that on Raw. I mean, Montreal was a hot crowd. Either way, this is really dumb, but pro wrestling is really dumb, so cool.
Just spare a thought for the guy backstage who had to go up to them. And I've worked with them when they were in Defiant and WCPW. They're lovely guys, but they are intimidating.
Massive.
Imagine going up to them, "Hi guys, so you're going to be debuting on Monday Night Raw tonight, but we're going to call you the Viking Experience." Best of luck to them. I really hope they do well. They're fantastically talented and they're lovely guys. They've just been saddled with something that is the most Vince McMahon thing ever.
We call in this business silly bollocks.
Yes.
Anyway, so moving from Raw to SmackDown, the Superstar Shakeup, of course, continues tonight. And with SmackDown losing AJ Styles and The Miz, you might think that they probably need to acquire a big name or two. Well, guess what? That's apparently what they're going to do. I have a direct quote here from WWE.com SmackDown Live Preview. They say, and I quote, "After an exciting first night of the 2019 Superstar Shakeup, things are only going to get crazier tonight on SmackDown. WWE Chairman Mr. McMahon has promised to reveal the biggest acquisition in SmackDown Live history." So, what the hell does this mean? This could mean a couple of different things. It might mean like a Roman Reigns coming over.
That's what I'd guess.
I think that would be very positive. They need to get him away from Seth Rollins because for the duration of Seth's reign as Universal Champion, people are going to be panicking about Roman coming and taking the belt, and Roman's going to get booed. They could mean someone who's literally a massive human being, a Braun Strowman, a Brock Lesnar, or a Bobby Lashley.
100%. I know we make predictions on here, and we're very often wrong. There was no Monday Night MILF chant last night, for example.
The Carberry.
Bobby Lashley is 100% going to SmackDown, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just hope he's not the biggest acquisition.
Look at the size of him!
He's huge. Knowing WWE, they might just troll us all and put Baron Corbin over.
Please.
Imagine the banter when the big breakfast shows up on SmackDown. Everyone's sitting there going, "Is it going to be Roman Reigns? Is it going to be Undisputed Era? Is it going to be
Drew
one
McIntyre,
of
like
our
he's
nerdy
talented?
internet favourites? Baron Corbin, get it right up you, the internet." No, in all honesty, I'm really hoping for Roman Reigns here.
Yeah.
The reception that he received in the Dark segment when we were at Raw in the Barclays Center last week was really eye-opening. The man got pretty much booed out of the building. Really uncomfortable kind of reception. Look,
You didn't mention the bit where they were doing, they do a thing when you're at a live show, if you've never been, where they go, "Here's some of the best signs," and it's all the usual stuff. And they accidentally, someone's getting fired in WWE, they accidentally pan to a sign that says, "Is it okay to boo Roman?"
Yeah, it's like the reception he's receiving already is making me kind of uncomfortable. This man survived leukemia, for Pete's sake. The idea of booing him is ridiculous to me at this stage. But take him to SmackDown. It's a more sharply written show. You can get him away from Rollins. If you want to keep him as a babyface, you can pit him against the most obnoxious man alive, Daniel Bryan. It'll be fine. I think that could work.
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, the majority of the Superstar Shakeup is just moving people on and freshening them up. We saw it last night with AJ Styles, and hopefully we'll see it tonight with Roman Reigns or with Bobby
So what we're
Lashley.
saying is that it's definitely the Big Show.
Oh, it is as well, isn't
I
it?
can't believe I just said that.
Right, should we move on to today's final news story?
If we must.
Dean Ambrose, the guy who, don't forget, is definitely leaving the WWE just after he has one final reunion with The Shield, and then one final match, and then one final goodbye. And oh, don't forget, on Sunday, there's the big new Shield program that they're putting out. Dean Ambrose, in my opinion, as I've said from the beginning, is not leaving WWE. It's a work. However, if the WWE are to be believed, he had a nice little dark segment at the end of Monday Night Raw last night, didn't they?
Yeah. So, yeah.
He's definitely not going anywhere. He probably's the bloody SmackDown acquisition for all we know.
Right. So we report on this every single week. Obviously, it's you're doing your gimmick about Dean Ambrose. It's a work and all this stuff. On camera right now, the world is watching. Pasty bet, Dean Ambrose.
I've already made a pasty bet.
Not with me, you haven't, Mother Hubbard.
What's the rule? What's the bet then?
After no more televised appearances, aside from the network dark match thing that's getting broadcast this week.
Till when? No more, whatever.
Yeah. Done.
So I never have to, because he literally could appear in 2050.
Shut up. Semantics.
Yeah.
You saw it. If Dean
Yes.
Ambrose leaving is a work, I owe him a pasty. If
Yeah.
not,
Yeah, and it is at work, so you might as well buy me the pasties.
Shut
I already
up,
owe so many.
bellend.
I already owe so many people pasties for Miz versus Bryan at
Yeah, you
WrestleMania
do.
that I called. But yes, he had a dark segment, and kind of what we saw and what we shared with you guys on the channel last week. What happened when after Raw went off the air? He came out, he put Seth and Roman over. It's the usual stuff.
Same thing, apparently. There's a few short video clips doing the rounds online. It basically seems like he's just doing a little farewell tour, thanking the fans and so forth. Good. At least he got a nice pop.
Exactly. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Don't forget you can tweet them at us at WhatCulture WWE. Now, a lot of our Twitter questions, I should point out, were just the Viking Experience, but we've covered that, so we'll move on to some other ones. First one comes from at Mexican Ring Bear, who says, with last night's squash of EC3, do you guys think that he really is in the doghouse with WWE, or just creative don't see him as a valuable asset?
Yeah, I think creative just don't see him as there was that story about him being in the doghouse and all this stuff, but I struggle to think what he could have possibly done. He's always seemed like quite a professional guy and so forth. Obviously, that's all speculative. Yeah, I'm quite surprised by his whole treatment, because he very much fits the mold of a Vince McMahon guy. He's good looking, he's muscular, he can talk, he plays character really well, although he hasn't had a chance to show that. It's kind of a weird little plight, but I popped my little tits off watching him get just chokeslammed through the stage last night. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I think maybe just take him off screen for a bit and maybe just bring him back when you actually have something planned for him. But anyway,
Yeah.
Matthew Cross with the next question for today, who says, hey guys, do you think the Monday Night Raw edition of the Shakeup was a swerve? And are they saving the huge surprises for SmackDown?
I don't know if there will be huge surprises. They've already set up this big name acquisition. That could be big, or it could be a total troll move. I just think that the days of big game-changing surprises are kind of over.
Yeah, what was it? Well, when they first divided up the rosters, Raw was so heavily weighted on their side. Last year's Superstar Shakeup balanced things out a lot more, and they arguably SmackDown got the best of that. I do kind of think it's going to be minor tweaks here, and as I discussed with the Dudley boys on our podcast yesterday, I think the big changes, or the big headline moves, should I say, are probably going to be saved for another Superstar Shakeup they're going to do around the time that Fox deal comes in for SmackDown and they move to Friday nights.
I think they'll do one big name, a Roman or whatever, a Braun maybe. I think they'll do someone like Bayley, the Revival perhaps, Buddy Murphy, he's done all he can down there. And then just some cannon fodder. Really, what's the biggest surprise they could do? Undisputed Era, maybe? If you're talking outside names anymore, they really are down to the likes of bloody Carlito and people like that. They've pulled off every big name return they can ever possibly do. I'd love to see big surprises. I just think that era might be done.
Yeah, it might be a good point there. Final question comes from Matt from Fat Momoa on Twitter, regular contributor, who says, could you see WWE Brass dropping Sasha Banks back down to NXT as a demotion, for lack of a better term?
Yep.
The problem I have there is
that a demotion?
If everyone sees that, they'll go, can I be demoted as well, please, to NXT?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that from a creative standpoint, that's not actually a demotion, but
no.
It certainly would be in terms of making money, because obviously NXT wrestlers don't work as many house shows. The more house shows you work, the more money you make and so forth. I could see them trying to do that. I could also see Sasha Banks kicking up a massive hissy fit, because that's kind of what she does. Although we argued yesterday that the latest one is justified, and we do think it is. Yeah, no, absolutely. Although the match quality would certainly go up, and she would be an awesome opponent for Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair. I think it'd be quite good, actually.
I'd love to see her on NXT. I don't want to see it in this sort of circumstance, I suppose. I want to see more, and we've discussed this in previous episodes, where I want to see more people flit in between the main roster and NXT, because you can use them, as we saw initially with NXT, to elevate the stars there. So I'd like to see that way more often, and if people... Not to hark on the point, but when Nia Jax was injuring people, I said we should drop her down there so she get a bit more experience before she comes back up. Use it as that sort of a platform, I think. But I don't see it happening as a demotion for Sasha Banks. She's probably just going to get jobbed out for a few weeks, and then they'll go, right, okay, now we'll give you a title push.
I think she might get the Neville treatment, to be honest.
Could be. Yeah. Could well be. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and
this is a belter.
In the immediate aftermath of WrestleMania, quite a few stars, quite rightly, have gone on a bit of a deserved break. Andy Murray, if you were to go on holiday, where would you go? What would you like to do? Would it be a city break? Would it be, a nice hotel? Would it be a day at the beach? What would you like to do?
I'm very much a city break kind of guy, you know?
Well, it turns out that Ronda Rousey is not quite in the same vein as Andy Murray, because she's not going on a holiday. She's going on an impregnation vacation.
Hashtag. Yeah, this is something else. Big photo of her kissing Travis Brown. Well, I mean, at least she's made her intentions clear. Why are you going on holiday, Ronda? Shagging and babies.
Yeah, look, we thought it was going to happen. She said she wants to try for a family. We wish her all the best. I think it's worked out very nicely. But just the fact that she decided to tweet, if I couldn't love her anymore, I love her.
She's mental. Ronda Rousey is an insane person. Did you see that video of her playing the saxophone? What the hell is going on? I don't know what goes on in this woman's head. She's a wonderful professional wrestler. She was a great mixed martial artist. She's mad.
Have a good impregnation vacation, Ronda and Travis.
From the boys. Bye.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you can tweet your Twitter questions at us at WhatCulture WWE. Or your photos from your impregnation vacation. It's up to you. Whilst you're there, you can follow him and me. You can follow Andy at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hungry.
Is it really?
I haven't had breakfast yet.
Good to know. You can follow me at Adam Wilmot. And said you can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thanks to you for watching. We will see you soon.
Banter.